that time of year, citizens. We're carving the pumpkins, getting our costumes ready, and heading out to well, actually this video has nothing to do with Halloween other than its timing. However, these are 4 excellent Nintendo Switch games at their lowest prices ever that you should consider grabbing before October wraps up. We'll start with Grapple Dog, because this game is an absolute gem. If you're fond of the Game Boy Advance, you should already be sold, as it's obvious where this game gets its inspiration. If not, look, you play as a dog and you've got a grapple hook. Still not sold? Fine. With charm out the wazoo, Grapple Dog sets you on an adventure across 6 worlds with 30 or so stages and gives you a gradually increasing suite of moves to use as you learn how to traverse the increasingly complex levels. Nothing ever gets too hard, but if it's a challenge you're looking for, there are secrets and extra challenges to extend the gameplay from about 8 hours to somewhere closer to 12. The story is far more interesting than it needs to be, and the game's got a great sense of humor too. With a fitting soundtrack, approachable difficulty curve, and gameplay that makes it really hard to put down. Make sure to check out Grapple Dog while it's 50% off for $7.49. 'Cause this game, it'll hook ya. Now, if you're the type who enjoys exploring interesting worlds, finding abilities, and leveling things up while searching for new areas with your latest gadget, well, these 2 Metroidvanias should be right up your alley. Nobody ever talks about The Mummy Demastered, I'm guessing because nobody liked the Tom Cruise reboot it's based in the universe of. But forget about that, friends, because this is a run-and-gun Metroidvania by WayForward that fills a frequently overlooked niche in the genre. The world, levels, map, and traversal all feel like Super Metroid, but the gunplay is a bit more like Contra, or maybe even Shadow Complex if that name rings a bell. The pixel art and atmosphere are all outstanding, as would be expected by WayForward, and I love that the game doesn't overstay its welcome, running at around 5 or 6 hours. You get quite a few different guns to play with throughout the game: flamethrowers, machine guns, grenade launchers, and of course you'll upgrade your jump and other movement abilities too. The part that some people get hung up on, though, is that when you die, you have to travel back to where you fell and defeat a possessed version of yourself if you want to recollect all of your gear. Which, yes, that means it's a Souls-like in that way. It wasn't ever too much of a hassle for me, so if that stuff doesn't really bother you, know that The Mummy Demastered comes highly recommended, especially while it's 60% off for $7.99. But if a sci-fi run-and-gun based on a failed movie universe from back when Hollywood thought they could replace Brendan Fraser with Tom Cruise doesn't jive your turkey, take a look at this beautiful take on the Metroidvania formula that does a lot of things differently and everything right. Ender Lilies Quietus of the Nights is a highly rated, absolutely gorgeous game set in a gothic world that can be tackled in as little as a dozen hours, or twice that if you really want to find everything it has to offer, which I strongly suggest. With a melancholy tone and a methodical feeling of control, it's a bit slower paced than other similar titles, but the way the story and world are presented in Ender Lilies is downright captivating. This is a full-on action RPG with leveling systems and even an element of monster capturing similar to the familiars in later Castlevanias. While you play as a little girl, you're actually summoning other beings for all of your abilities, so the way you choose to build your loadout directly impacts which party member you spend your time with and how they grow in strength. There's a reason this game hasn't been on sale very often, because it easily justifies its usual $25 price tag. But if you're in the mood for a somber yet beautiful world with plenty to explore and a design that will make this game hard to forget, don't miss Ender Lilies while it's 35% off for $16.24. Last up for today is the game that rounded out Nindy Nation's top 10 releases of 2021, and a game that you've probably already heard a lot about. Death's Door is an isometric action-adventure with an 89 score on Metacritic that should not be missed. Now, I was late to the party with this one, so if you're on the fence, maybe I can help you decide if it's time to jump in now that it's only $10. You play as a crow who reaps souls, and after some shenanigans with your boss, you have to track down 4 souls who just refuse to go to the afterlife. The game's structure is all about exploring an interconnected world, finding little hideaways and secrets, and then tracking down the 4 bosses who reside in Zelda-like dungeons. It's simple, but very well done. Traversal is also Zelda-like as you navigate environmental puzzles and occasionally backtrack to use newer abilities that help you recover items which were previously out of reach. Combat, however, is where the Death's Door formula really differs. It's all about carefully timed attacks and a heavy reliance on dodge rolls and parries. There isn't much room for error, but penalties for dying are insignificant, and the game rarely, if ever, feels cheap, so it's always rewarding when you do finally tackle that challenge room or boss. The story is fairly simple in scope, too, but it brings a sarcastic, dark sense of humor that's refreshing while also doing a great job of world building without ever overstaying its welcome. If you like what you see, but you're worried that the game's just gonna be too hard for you, I say give it a shot, as long as you can be a little patient. It is tough, but it's also fair, and it makes failure feel much more like a learning process than it does punishment. So, see anything you're gonna pick up? Have any questions about the games listed today, or did you see any other deals worth discussing? Let me know down in the comments. If you're new here, Nindy Nation is all about helping you find the games on the Switch that don't get as much attention as they should. And all 4 of today's titles come highly recommended, especially at their current prices. Click the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to see more indie gaming goodness, and come hang out with us on Discord where we're always talking about the latest eShop deals. Until next time, citizens, I'm Jeff, this is Nindy Nation, and thank you for watching.